English study plane for talking. Lena awoke with a familiar sigh, the weight of another day of English looming. Her mind was a battlefield of forgotten tenses and elusive vocabulary, a perpetual daily day's struggle. She yearned for effortless conversations, yet every attempt felt like a clumsy stumble, her tongue tripping over simple phrases she desperately wanted to master. The vibrant chatter of native speakers often pierced her quiet resolve. How other people talk in English seemed so fluid, so natural, like breathing. Their words flowed seamlessly, painting vivid pictures, while hers remained fragmented, trapped behind a barrier of shyness and linguistic uncertainty. It was truly disheartening. She had tried every conceivable method known to man. Countless apps promised instant fluency, flashcards piled high, and grammar textbooks lay open, their rules blurring into an incomprehensible maze. Her effort was immense, yet the progress felt agonizingly slow, leaving her perpetually frustrated with the process. How to learn words became her incessant internal plea. She'd repeat new vocabulary hundreds of times, only for it to vanish moments later, like wisps of smoke. Remembering words felt like trying to catch water with a sieve, a futile exercise that chipped away at her determination and spirit. One particularly despairing evening, a thought crept in, insidious and persuasive. "Why you should not learn English," it whispered. The effort seemed disproportionate to the reward, the humiliation of mistakes too high a price. Perhaps, she mused, this wasn't her path after all. But deep down, a spark of stubborn ambition refused to extinguish. She stumbled upon an old, tattered English story reading book tucked away on her shelf. Its cover, faded but inviting, promised adventures beyond her current reality, offering a tiny beacon of hope in the gloom. Slowly, hesitantly, she opened its pages. The simple sentences, though challenging, felt less intimidating than complex conversations. She began to immerse herself, not just in the words, but in the narrative, the characters' emotions, and the gentle rhythm of the prose. It was a new approach. It was then, amidst the quiet comfort of the story, that an idea began to take shape, her very own English study plane for talking. Not a real aircraft, but a mental sanctuary, a private space where she could practice without judgment, a place for fearless linguistic experimentation. Her plane had no visible wings, yet it soared. Inside, she imagined herself conversing effortlessly with characters from her stories, debating plots, describing scenes. This imaginative space became her personal language lab, a safe haven for trial and error, away from prying ears. To effectively learn words, she realized, context was everything. Instead of isolated flashcards, she started noting new vocabulary directly from her English story reading, seeing how they functioned within sentences, understanding their nuances from the narrative flow. This proved revolutionary. She also began to actively practice how to remember words. Her method now involved crafting mini-stories around new terms, linking them to images or personal experiences. The more vivid the association, the stronger the memory link, making recall surprisingly easier and more reliable. Her study plane truly took flight when she incorporated active listening. She would find audio versions of her stories, mimicking the intonation, rhythm, and pronunciation of the narrators. This helped bridge the gap between understanding words and actually producing them confidently. The concept of how to talk in English began to shift. It wasn't just about perfect grammar anymore, but about communication, about conveying meaning, even with mistakes. Her imaginary conversations in the plane became bolder, less inhibited by the fear of imperfection. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the real world began to reflect her internal progress. A small chat with a barista, a clearer question to a shop assistant. These tiny victories were fuel for her ambition, tangible proof that her new methods were yielding results. She started noticing how other people talk in English, not with envy, but with analytical curiosity. She picked up on common phrases, idiomatic expressions, and natural conversational fillers. Her ear became attuned to the subtleties she had once missed entirely. Her daily day's struggle transformed from a crushing burden into a series of achievable challenges. Each new word learned, each sentence constructed, felt like another step up a winding staircase, bringing her closer to her ultimate destination, genuine fluency. There was no single best way to learn English, she concluded. Instead, it was a mosaic of personalized strategies, adapted to her own learning style. The key lay in consistency, enjoyment, and a willingness to experiment, always keeping the destination in sight. The study plane wasn't a rigid curriculum, it was a flexible framework. Some days she flew high, soaring through complex narratives, while other days she practiced simple, foundational phrases, reinforcing the basics with gentle repetition and patience. Her vocabulary expanded organically, not through rote memorization, but through repeated exposure in meaningful contexts. She understood that how to learn words effectively meant embracing them as living entities, not just isolated definitions on a page. Remembering words became less about effort and more about connection. Every new term was linked to a character, a plot twist, or a vivid image from her beloved English story reading. The stories provided hooks for countless linguistic treasures. The fear of why you should not learn English dissolved completely. Her initial doubts were replaced by an unwavering belief in her own capacity to learn and grow. The journey, though challenging, had become profoundly rewarding and deeply personal. Her transformation was not just linguistic, it was holistic. Her confidence in herself blossomed, extending beyond English into other areas of her life. The once shy Lena now sought out opportunities to engage, to connect, to truly communicate. She discovered the power of storytelling, not just for learning, but for connecting with others. When she managed to retell a simple plot or describe a character, she felt a profound sense of achievement and shared understanding. Her approach to how to learn English now focused on joyful immersion rather than stressful study. She viewed every English interaction as a mini-adventure, a chance to apply her skills and refine her understanding in real-time scenarios. The whispers of how other people talk in English no longer stung. Instead, they inspired her. She recognized that everyone's journey was unique, and their fluency was a testament to their own dedication, just as hers was to her path. Her English study plane for talking was always available, a mental escape hatch for practice. It allowed her to experiment with new phrases, to internalize grammar patterns, and to build muscle memory for accurate and fluid pronunciation. She realized that the best way to learn English wasn't about finding a magic bullet, but about consistent, joyful engagement. It was about making English a part of her daily life, integrating it into her hobbies and passions seamlessly and naturally. Her journey taught her that how to talk in English was not a destination, but an ongoing process of refinement. Every conversation offered a new lesson, every interaction a chance to improve, fostering a continuous loop of learning and growth. The struggles were still present, of course, but their nature had changed. They were no longer insurmountable obstacles, but challenging puzzles to be solved, opportunities for deeper understanding and greater mastery of the language. She became an advocate for reading widely, especially English story reading. She explained how stories provided not only vocabulary but cultural context, emotional depth, and a natural rhythm that no textbook could ever truly replicate. How to learn words, she would advise, is about creating a web of connections. Don't just list them. Weave them into sentences, into scenarios, into your imagination. Make them live. This advice stemmed from her own successful methods. Remembering words became a creative act. She encouraged others to draw, to sing, to act out new vocabulary. The more senses involved, the stickier the word became in the mind, moving from short-term to long-term memory effortlessly. The thought of why you should not learn English now seemed absurd. The world had opened up to her. New friends, new perspectives, new opportunities, all thanks to her perseverance and her unwavering commitment to linguistic mastery. Her daily day's struggle had become her strength. Each stumble had taught her resilience. Each moment of doubt had forged stronger determination. She understood that vulnerability was part of growth, not a sign of weakness. The concept of how other people talk in English transformed from a source of intimidation to a wellspring of inspiration. She studied their patterns, emulated their natural flow, and incorporated their effective communication strategies into her own repertoire. Her English study plane for talking was now a bustling hub, filled with vivid characters and engaging dialogues. It was a testament to the power of deliberate practice and the boundless potential of a focused, imaginative mind. She understood that the best way to learn English was intensely personal. What worked for one might not work for another. The journey was not about following a rigid path, but forging one's own, guided by curiosity and joy. How to talk in English was no longer a mystery. It was a skill honed through countless hours of quiet, deliberate practice in her imaginary world, combined with brave forays into real-world conversations, no matter how small or challenging. Her passion for English story reading became contagious. She shared her favorite authors, discussing plots and character development, finding immense joy in connecting with others through shared literary experiences. This was truly rewarding. Every morning, the thought of English no longer brought a sigh of dread, but a surge of anticipation. The daily journey continued, but now it was a thrilling expedition, filled with discoveries and continuous opportunities for growth and refinement. She often reflected on how to learn words and the initial frustration. Now she saw words as friends, each with its own story, its own connections to other words, building a rich tapestry of meaning and expression over time. Remembering words had evolved into a seamless, almost unconscious process. Her brain had developed intricate pathways, linking new information to existing knowledge, making recall efficient and effortless during fluid conversations. The initial question, why you should not learn English, now felt like a distant, humorous memory. She often thought about how limiting her life would have been had she succumbed to that early despair, missing out on so much. Her command of English opened doors to new professional avenues, allowing her to engage with international colleagues and clients with newfound ease and confidence. Her career prospects broadened considerably and unexpectedly. She found herself confidently navigating foreign cities, reading street signs, ordering food, and engaging in spontaneous conversations. The world, once intimidating, now felt accessible and wonderfully inviting, full of possibilities. The nuances of how other people talk in English became a source of fascination. She enjoyed observing regional accents and different conversational styles, understanding that linguistic diversity was a beautiful and enriching aspect. Her English study plane for talking remained her trusted companion, a metaphor for her personal, evolving approach to language acquisition. It represented freedom, progress, and the boundless joy of continuous learning. She had truly embraced the fact that the best way to learn English was not a single method, but a dynamic, evolving process that adapted to her needs and interests, always prioritizing enjoyment and real-world application. How to talk in English was no longer a chore but a genuine pleasure. She actively sought out opportunities to speak, engaging in online forums, language exchange meetups, and even volunteering, pushing her comfort zone joyfully. The daily day's struggle transformed into a daily triumph, each small step a testament to her perseverance. She understood that fluency was a journey, not a destination, and every moment of effort contributed to her growing mastery. Her love for English story reading deepened, providing not just language input, but a window into diverse cultures and human experiences. Each book was a new adventure, expanding her mind and enriching her spirit profoundly. She now helped others struggling with similar challenges, sharing her insights on how to learn words and how to remember words, emphasizing context, creativity, and the power of consistent, joyful practice every single day. She became living proof that the initial thought of why you should not learn English was a fallacy. The benefits far outweighed the difficulties, opening up a world of connection, understanding, and personal growth for anyone. Her ability to understand how other people talk in English had sharpened significantly. She could now follow complex discussions, grasp subtle humor, and engage in nuanced debates, feeling truly connected to conversations. The English study plane for talking became a symbol of limitless potential. It underscored that learning was an internal flight, powered by curiosity and resilience, taking her to new linguistic heights and beyond every day. Her greatest advice for the best way to learn English was simple: find joy in the process. Embrace mistakes, celebrate small victories, and never stop exploring. Language learning, she realized, was a marathon, not a sprint. And so, Lena's journey continued, a testament to turning struggle into strength, doubt into determination. Her voice, once timid, now resonated with confidence, a living example of how to talk in English with genuine freedom. The path to fluency was winding, but she walked it with grace, her study plane always ready for its next takeoff. She was no longer just learning a language. She was living it, breathing it, truly embodying it fully.